What's up, guys? Mr. Godzilla here, and I'm finally back doing continuing the Godzilla-Thon. Cole, if you're watching this, we're now reviewing Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. Now, oh boy, we were almost at the end of the Heisei series, but this one's like the second to last of the Heisei movies. It's definitely one of those movies that does get a lot of hate in the Heisei series, but it was considered a fan favorite. And I enjoyed this one. It's one of my favorite movies of the Godzilla franchise. And I really love the Heisei movies. I love the Heisei series the best of all the Godzilla franchise. And so here we go. It took place after Godzilla vs. Mecha. And then Godzilla now embraced being a father and went from being a brutal. So Godzilla went from being some ruthless, brutal, cold-blooded killer to becoming a loving father. As he found another one of his species, which is a pure Godzilla-saur. So the baby Godzilla is back on the island. This time he finds out he's a little older, which he's now a little pudgy and green, which looks like this. And now, a lot of people give this one a lot of crap because it looks similar to Manila, but at least he looks more like Godzilla instead of a gray turd. But oh my god, it's Godzilla is like the most adorable thing, one of the most adorable things ever. And oh my god, it's so cute. Like, I would want him as a pet. And there was a funny moment where one of the human characters finds little Godzilla annoying, the baby Godzilla annoying, which this time he's called Little Godzilla. And after Mechagodzilla was destroyed, they made another robot, call himself Mogira. Now, Mogira first appeared in the movie called The Murians, where he was an alien robot. But Mogira was created by the government. So, and then they learned about, and so then Miki Sakusa, who comes back in this one, and he learned about it, and the Mothra fairies came to Earth to message about a terrible space monster coming down to Earth to destroy. And Godzilla must go to save the world. And he's meant to go after Godzilla and destroy. And he had a motivation to go after Godzilla and destroy. So then Mogira ends up going to space. And he comes to face with the monster. Curled up in a flying crystal ball made of spiky crystals floating in space. And after Mogira was defeated, the monster ends up landing on Earth. Landing on Earth and meeting face to face with Little Godzilla. And so then the space monster, he ends up bullying Godzilla, Little Godzilla's son. He ends up bullying Godzilla's son, which is pretty similar to like Godzilla's Revenge, where Gabara would bully Manila. Like, literally beat himself up. Like, he was such a mean bastard towards Little Godzilla. And then Godzilla shows up to rescue his son, and he fights the space monster. And this time you see that he was become a loving father. You saw him being protective. You saw him protecting Manila, like he shields him. And even Manila hides by his side, too. So, this is where Godzilla truly becomes like an anti-hero. So then after that, Godzilla had a hard time fighting the monster, which close to looking like him. After that, Godzilla got knocked out. And the monster ends up kidnapping Godzilla's son, which he had the balls to kidnap Godzilla's son. So then the space monster ends up revealing to the government to have a name, dubbing him as Space Godzilla. And now, here's the very, very complicated part, folks. Yet, Space Godzilla has Godzilla's DNA. His origin story is explained that the Godzilla cells went into space, going into the black hole, mutating as Space Godzilla. So then they had mutating as Space Godzilla. So then after Godzilla and the Godzilla cells either came from when Mothra had a piece of Godzilla's scale stuck to her when she went into space, or Biollante, who was Godzilla's half sister, half Godzilla, half plant, who is Godzilla's sister, being mixed with his species with a plant. Now, Space Godzilla is technically Godzilla's brother. Yes, that's right. Space Godzilla is technically Godzilla's brother, being that the cells went into the space mutating as Space Godzilla. But here's the biggest problem that a lot of folks had. That had some continuity errors there. Like, why did they reference Biollante? That's the one flaw they had about Biollante. That they referenced Biollante in this movie. Which made no sense whatsoever. Like, as what James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, had referenced in Cinemassacre's Monster Madness Godzilla-Thon, he said that he never heard of one movie give two elaborate explanations when one was clearly enough. And he also mentioned that Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah altered the timeline to where Godzilla never existed till that movie, and if they alter the timeline where Alter didn't exist, because without Godzilla, there wouldn't be a Biollante. Since there weren't no Godzilla cells. Like, I don't know, fuck that, because they just made that flaw, and it made no sense whatsoever. So anyway, the Space Godzilla's motivation was to destroy Earth. And now, unlike this monster, he has a personality. Like a supervillain personality. Plotting to take over the world. Plotting to destroy Godzilla and take over the entire world. Like, he made out of crystals. There was a few funny moments where, like, when there was this guy who was all whining and was whining about wanting to go home while the other one's trying to win a doll for his niece. But Space Godzilla comes in and causes some mayhem in the city, making a fortress, destroying the city. And then Godzilla would come to the rescue and comes face to face with Space Godzilla and Mogira by his side. And my god, it was the longest battle ever. And they even destroyed his shoulder crystals, which, oh boy, that caused some major damage there. And the battle ends when Godzilla finally destroys Space Godzilla with his hyper-atomic beam, which is the same thing he did to which he did to Super Mecha Godzilla. So now the ending of the storyline. Oh yeah, there was this guy has a connection with the events of Godzilla vs. Biollante when Godzilla destroys his friend, which is the bazooka guy who shot his mouth, but failed miserably. And he swore revenge on Godzilla, but then comes around and decided, forget it. And they also try to mind control Godzilla, which that didn't work out well, by shooting a device on his neck. And that didn't go as planned. And then Mickey used her psychic powers to remove the device out of Godzilla's neck. Godzilla felt it, and looked at Mickey like he was grateful for that. So then Space Godzilla was defeated, and little Godzilla's free. And now the ending. Oh boy, the ending of Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla. Oh yeah, and before I go further than that, there was this funny moment where there was this one guy who couldn't give up on going after Godzilla, so he tries going into the water yelling, "Godzilla, I still have a bone to pick with you," and tries running after him, and oh my god, that was a funny line. So now the ending. My god, I really love the ending to this one. It just depicts Godzilla just swimming and going back home to his island. It had awesome music, which I love the song to it. And if you want to look up the ending song, the link is in the description below, because you gotta listen to it. It's quite lovely. I really love this, showing that the world is saved, showing that it's quite heroic, shows like it's an ending, and it's quite a beautiful ending. It's like Godzilla saves the world, Space Godzilla is defeated, and little Godzilla is saved. Actually, a hero in this movie. So then that's the end of that one. So would I recommend this movie? Yes, it's for fun and entertainment right here. I have this film right here, and next what we'll be doing what I have in my collection is in a double feature with Destroya. And next up we will be reviewing Godzilla vs. Destroya. And that's all I have to say, folks, and as always, stay awesome, my Monster Masters, and I'll catch you later. Goodbye.